Time now for business with Kate Moody. Kate, good to see you. Retailers are pushing back against lockdown restrictions, arguing they should be allowed to open before December 1st. What's the latest on that?
Well, Monty, this traditionally American sales event has become really central to this dispute here in France about when and how to loosen these lockdown restrictions for non-essential businesses. Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving in the United States. That's next Friday, November the 27th, and it's just a few days before France's second lockdown is due to end. Now, the Economy and Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire met with business owners and retail lobbies earlier this Thursday, urging them to postpone their Black Friday promotions to early December, saying that for now the health crisis really needs to be the number one priority. And in a major breakthrough, Amazon has now agreed to that. The Black Friday promotions won't go live on its French site until December the 4th, and that's going to really give some breathing space to other French retailers who've said that they feel penalized by what they describe as unfair competition from online platforms, and especially Amazon in particular, while they have to remain shut during the lockdown. A couple of other French chains, Carrefour and Leclerc, have also said that they'll be delaying their flash sales on their websites as well. Now, Black Friday has only recently become a phenomenon here in France, but last year it brought in around 6 billion euros worth of sales. And this year it's become a really key part of retailers' strategies in their efforts to try to kick off the holiday shopping season. And what they hope it will help them make up some of the financial losses that they've been really racking up during the pandemic.
So, Kate, turning to the U.S., where the number of applications for jobless benefits has increased for the first time in a month.
Yeah, these weekly figures have been decreasing slightly, but pretty steadily since early October. Last week's data have now bucked that trend. 742,000 Americans applied for unemployment benefits for the first time last week. That's up from 710,000 the previous week. Now, we are far from that peak of nearly 7 million in a single week that we saw back in March, but we're still at a weekly rate around 3 times higher than pre-pandemic levels. We've seen large corporations like Boeing, Disney, Exxon announcing major layoffs in recent weeks, and so these numbers could continue to climb. More than 21 million Americans are currently receiving jobless benefits. More than half of them, though, could stand to lose that government support by the end of this year. The emergency measures that were approved by Congress at the beginning of the pandemic made independent and gig economy workers eligible for benefits that they wouldn't usually have access to, and they extended the amount of time that people could claim government support while out of work. Now, those emergency measures will expire at the end of December. Lawmakers have yet to agree on a renewal or more financial aid as part of a broader stimulus bill, although they have said today that negotiations have now been restarted after the election. A report released on Wednesday said that without action by Congress, some 12 million people risk falling off the benefits cliff. That's how they described it. It would leave them without jobs and without any financial aid from the government. Even as some indicators in the U.S. starting to show signs of a recovery from the pandemic, the risk of economic hardship there remains really prevalent.
So, Kate, let's finish with a look at the markets. What was the latest today?
Well, earlier in the week, we saw investors getting quite a boost, really tuned into all those developments about the latest possible coronavirus vaccine developments. That seems to have worn off for now. A rocky session for Wall Street saw stocks reverse their earlier losses to close just slightly above the flat line. We saw the tech-heavy NASDAQ outperforming there, boosted by shares of Sonos, shares of that audio equipment maker, up 30% as it reported strong quarterly results. Earlier, the major European indices closed lower, losses of between about 2/3 and nearly 9/10 of 1 percentage point there. Investors in Europe more focused on warnings from the ECB that the Eurozone is facing more economic damage here as countries tighten their restrictions. And analysts say that global markets are really likely to face continued volatility as long as the pandemic remains uncontrolled.
Okay, Kate Moody with Business, thank you so much for that. And that's it for right now. Stay tuned for more world news here on France 24.
The promise of a zero-emissions aircraft is not new, and neither is the promise of hydrogen. But despite its success in rocket propulsion, hydrogen has never really taken off in civil aviation, partly because the way it's produced today is far from green.
Down to Earth, presented by Mairead Dundas on France 24 and France24.com.